SuperTalk Mississippi media production.
Running a business is tough. If you're struggling with HR, benefits, and payroll, you're not alone. Many businesses just don't have the resources to keep up. That's where MWG Employer Services comes in. We provide a full range of employer services with everything from payroll to benefits to HR services and compliance, and can create a custom plan that fits your needs and budget. We're a Mississippi-based company that can help you focus on what you do best, growing your business. Call MWG Employer Services today at 601-206-7966 or go to MWGEmployerServices.com. You're listening to Sports Talk Mississippi On Demand, presented by Pearl River Resort. Escape to Choctaw, Mississippi and enjoy world-class gaming, the Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, and Geyser Falls Water Park. Escape to Pearl River Resort.
Sports Talk Mississippi is on the air. Sports Talk Mississippi is powered by C-Spire. Power your home or business with C-Spire Fiber. To learn more, visit supertalk.fm/C-Spire. C-Spire Fiber powers SuperTalk Mississippi. To the junction, in the Grove, and to the top. This is Sports Talk Mississippi. On your radio and in the game, right here on Super Talk Mississippi.
Sorry about that. A solicitor was on my front door, and I had to tell them no thank you on the doorbell camera.
He's just trying to sell you some meat.
Get off my porch!
One of those, we got a truck full of meat that just, the air conditioning unit went out. We got discounted meat. You interested?
Sports Talk Mississippi, Borkey and Hadad with you after a busy weekend in which Southern Miss sweeps. We talk about them needing sweeps. They got one good on Southern Miss. Mississippi State goes to Texas. Didn't play great. Some missed opportunities in there as well, but they did get one. So when it comes to hosting and not hosting, it was not a devastating weekend, all things considered. Ole Miss goes to Fayetteville, had a lead, bottom of the ninth, game 3 to win the series, get walked off by Arkansas. That makes their hosting chances a little bit different. We will go through that. Got a comparison on the weekend. There's a path, obviously, for all three teams. I think right now, Ole Miss is the most overgrown and in need of a machete to clear out some brush in order to navigate the path. But we'll talk about all that and then look at the teams around them and what they did this weekend to kind of clear that conversation. We'll talk to all three baseball coaches. We'll do winners and losers. We'll do a college football fix. We'll be busy, and we're glad that you're here.
You were wrong about one thing this past week, though.
What was I wrong about?
We should have played baseball in the state of Mississippi. The weather ended up being just fine.
Especially yesterday.
It was just fine Friday and Saturday. There was no problem.
Yesterday.
I hope that the weather was good enough for you to get out and maybe play 18 holes at Dancing Rabbit with our friends at Pearl River Resort. But if they weren't, you didn't get that chance. You got that chance this weekend and every weekend. It is always a great time to book 18 holes at Dancing Rabbit or a great time to book a table at Philip M's or go catch a live show at Pearl River Resort. It's all right there for you, pearlriverresort.com. C-Spire text line open to you at 601-879-4395. With C-Spire, it's easier than ever to get all the devices you want in one move with the Ultimate Connect bundle. Right now, new and current customers can get a free phone, watch, and tablet, plus 100 gigs of data for just $90. That includes the new iPhone 17 and Samsung Galaxy S26 for free, and a free smartwatch and a free tablet to go with it. Don't wait. There's more to see. Visit cspire.com or stop by your local C-Spire store today. C-Spire, inspired by you.
And I didn't mention we had the Kentucky Derby this weekend. I'll be honest, I didn't watch it.
Did not watch it. I was watching the state game, but nobody we picked won that, so I was sad to see that.
Well, yeah, and the Puma got scratched.
Yes, which is kind of ironic.
Nailed it. Yeah, the first female trainer to win the Kentucky Derby, actually. So cool
little
I saw
that.
Piece of history there.
Very good.
But yeah, I didn't watch it. Although the ratings, again, awesome. Sports right now. I told this little inside baseball. Hadad and I had a meeting with some new salespeople in the company a few weeks ago, and I said to him, it's hard to explain, but sports is just up. If you are putting a sport thing on television, or if you're talking about sports, more people are listening today or watching today than they did 5 years ago. And as evidenced by the Kentucky Derby, they made some adjustments television-wise. Like, I guess, what, was it later in the day and stuff like that? But, I mean, NBC had a 20 million viewer number for the Kentucky Derby this weekend. If you're putting sports on, people are consuming said sports, which maybe this is a conversation for later in the week, but I got asked doing the podcast last night by a couple of people about the potential lockout coming to Major League Baseball. I didn't realize that it was that close.
The Dodgers have put America on this course, and I couldn't be happier, personally, that they're going to be even bigger villains. Maybe now everybody understands what I've been saying for a long time. What have I been saying for all these years? These people, they're terrible people. They're going to kill the national pastime.
But this might sound counterintuitive because I said sports are up, everybody's watching sports. However, if baseball goes away, you hope they don't, obviously, but if they go away, it is so much easier to be replaced today. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and Major League Baseball is on an upward trajectory. Fans are checking back in. Stars are more recognizable. The World Baseball Classic was a huge hit. And, like, baseball's doing good things at the Major League level. There's some momentum there. The ABS review has been positive. The pitch clock has been positive. If you go away,
you're going to lose it. In this day and age,
you're going to lose all of that momentum.
In this day and age, there may be no coming back from it. Yes, it'll still be baseball. People will still watch, but, like, it will be different. So,
because, I mean, people are just going to find something else.
Yeah.
They'll roll your eyes, baseball fans in the state. Soccer's going on this time of year.
Yeah.
People maybe check out the golf tournaments instead or whatever, and they'll find something else, and that's a problem. But that also could help the schools in Mississippi, though. If you have a draft-eligible player with eligibility, you offer him a nice NIL deal, and he looks at Major League Baseball, and they might not play, and you might not get paid. I'm staying in school.
Very, very possible. Who had the more heartbreaking Sunday loss? It's got to be Ole Miss, right?
But getting walked off, yeah.
But State looked like they were in total control. It's 5-0. Bryce Chance, of all people, hits a grand slam. And then Charlie Foster loses the ability to throw strikes, and you give up 8 runs without an out. Not a heartbreaking loss, but maybe I should just say, like, who had the worst loss?
Ole Miss had the worst loss.
I still think you're right, but gosh, that was painful to watch. You're just sitting there like,
you just needed 3 outs.
I mean, if I'm Charlie Foster, I'm like, I'm just gonna underhand toss it up here, and if you hit it out of the ballpark, so be it. But my guess is it'll die in the outfield.
Yeah,
something. That was really painful to watch, especially like I said, it's 5-0, and Chance hits that grand slam. I'm like, is this going to be a good day for State? Are they about to get this series? And man, it got away from them real quick there. But yes, the Ole Miss side of the things, you're 3 outs away from a massive. Kind of funny, by the way, funny coincidence. Arkansas walked off State and Ole Miss in games this year.
Yeah.
State in Game 1, Ole Miss in Game 3. And, you watch the Friday night game with Ole Miss, and you're thinking, oh, they're going to get this series. They look fantastic. They look locked in, ready to roll. But then just old habits dying hard for Ole Miss. They still are struggling to find consistency at the plate.
They are. And, so there's a lot of conversation about specifically Hooks' usage. You went to your 2 best relievers with a big lead in Game 2. I understand the first one. I don't quite understand going to Hooks in Game 2. That surprised me a little bit because you had a pretty commanding lead. But they decided to go with Calhoun and Hooks to end Game 2, despite, again, having a pretty commanding lead. And then I don't know why, like in that spot, because they pitched Waters in Game 1, and he was good. And they got run ruled in Game 1, so they only had 7 innings anyway. But Waters went 2 complete. Hadad, no hits, no runs, struck out 3. And instead of going to him possibly in Game 2 when you have a commanding lead, you go to your 2 best relievers, and then in Game 3, you go to Hooks. And, I think it was 2 pitches before the home run that walked it off. You hear Chris Burke on the call saying, Hooks isn't sharp right now. He looks gassed. His stuff doesn't have any bite. And then 2 pitches later, home run, ball game.
Yeah.
He was gassed. And so there's a lot of conversation about that decision. And I understand why, truly. Like, I get it. They should have managed Saturday differently, I think, especially with the benefit of hindsight. But the bigger issue for Ole Miss is twofold. You said one already. They've regressed back to the mean offensively.
Yeah.
They've always struck out too much, but, I mean...
I did not realize. I was doing the podcast today, and we were looking at some stats. I didn't realize Ole Miss was dead last in the SEC in strikeouts.
Oh, it's horrendous.
They have more strikeouts than Missouri, South Carolina, LSU, all of them. They're the only team with over 500 strikeouts as a team.
They strike out way too much, and they disappear too much. But most importantly, the biggest issue that this team has right now is the fact that their veteran ace he's giving them nothing right now. Hunter Elliott was awful again, and that's 2 weeks in a row. This week, he doesn't give you 4 complete. He goes 3 complete, gave up 6 runs. But it's kind of a trend right now with him, and that is the biggest glaring issue with this team right now. So, dating back to the Mississippi State series, he was good that day, but 5 1/3, gave up 3 runs on 4 hits. At Florida, only went 4 complete. Now, only gave up 2 runs, but your Friday night ace only gave you 4 innings.
Yeah.
He goes 6 with LSU, 6 with Tennessee, but then 3 2/3 and 3 complete. You are not getting what you need out of Hunter Elliott, and it sets the tone for the entire weekend.
Yeah.
And so
when your Friday night guy can't get you into the 6th or 7th, and you're already tapping into the bullpen that early, it's really tough to win series. And yet, Ole Miss was 3 outs away.
They were 3 outs away. They almost got it, and it would have made the hosting conversation a little bit different. So let's do that when we come back. Let's talk about hosting. So Mississippi State, where they stand, the teams around them, according to the D1 rankings, will do the same thing for Ole Miss and Southern Miss as well. So we'll start the hosting conversation when we come back. So Sports Talk Mississippi, Pearl River Resort Studio. Stick with us.
From the Venable
Sports Talk Mississippi. To the junction, in the groove, and to the top. Sports Talk Mississippi on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Welcome back, Borkey and Hadad with you, Sports Talk Mississippi. So let's talk about results this weekend and what it means for the hosting conversation. 2 weeks left in the regular season. Obviously, the conference tournaments, although, it makes you wonder whether or not how much the conference tournament truly matters in this discussion anyway.
It could matter for Ole Miss a little.
It could.
I don't know.
But the D1 regional projections, which will come out tomorrow, so we'll get to relitigate this tomorrow.
Yeah.
But Oregon State, we'll start with 9, because Auburn was the 8th seed, regardless of what they did this weekend, which I believe they won the series anyway, right?
They did. They took 2 out of 3 from A&M.
Yeah, so they won the A&M series, so that doesn't even matter. But they were at 8. So let's go to 9, Oregon State. What did Oregon State do this weekend? They went 3-2 this weekend. They split a midweek series this week with Texas Rio Grande Valley, which, by the way, they put like 6,000 people into their ballpark for every game, and they're not particularly good. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And they won a series but did not sweep Cal State Northridge. So they are not.
Also, their ace pitcher, Dax Whitney, who's the projected number 1 overall pick in the 2027 draft, is out for the season as of now.
Ooh.
A season-ending injury. So their situation has gotten worse. So it's possible to see them dropping off a touch.
Mm-hmm. But they are not this week falling behind Ole Miss, who went 1-3. They were at number 11.
No.
Coastal Carolina was at number 10, 1 spot in front of Ole Miss. Coastal Carolina went 3-1 this week. They won their weekend series at Georgia Southern, and their midweek win was at North Carolina.
Really good win for Coastal Carolina. They're up to 17 in the RPI.
So they are not jumping Ole Miss. Or, excuse me. They are not falling behind Ole Miss.
No, they're not going to fall behind them. No.
Ole Miss was at 11. Nebraska, this does help Ole Miss. Nebraska, stinky week. They got swept by Ohio State this weekend. They did win their midweek game against Kansas State. Not a good week for Nebraska.
Not a good week for the Cornhuskers. That they definitely will fall back.
And they are 18 in the RPI. Mississippi State at 13. Obviously, they went 2-2 this week, including a win over Ole Miss and a series loss at Texas. Ole Miss clearly, I think, will fall behind Mississippi State in the projections coming out tomorrow. They certainly should.
State up to 9th in the RPI. I made this comment on Thunder and Lightning. State really needs to pull for Ole Miss the rest of the way. Those 4 wins over Ole Miss are doing a lot of heavy lifting on State's
None of them
resume.
at home as well.
None of them at home. Those are great wins for Mississippi State. But you got a point there. Like, State beat this team 4 times. They have to be ahead of them in any kind of projection, I think.
They do. Yeah. I agree. Florida was at 14. Florida only played 3 games this week, but they won a series at Oklahoma, and they have now jumped Ole Miss in the RPI.
Yeah, Florida up to 12 in the RPI. This was a great week for the Florida Gators. They have 15 quad 1 wins. That is more than anybody in the top 20.
Florida State was at 15. Florida State also had a good week. They swept the week 4-0. Now, they're not at super impressive wins, South Florida and Pittsburgh, but Florida State went 4-0 this week.
Pittsburgh's a top 50 RPI team, or at least they were coming into that. But Florida State has jumped up to 7 in the RPI.
Again, not good for Ole Miss maintaining their spot as a host. Number 16, Southern Miss. Southern Miss went 3-1 this week. They did lose a midweek game to Tulane, but they swept on the weekend, and Southern Miss also, again, ahead of Ole Miss in the RPI.
They are ahead of them. Here's where Southern Miss is, and they have no midweek games remaining. So they have 6 Sun Belt games remaining. James Madison is 160 in the RPI. Georgia Southern is 210 in the RPI. Southern Miss, they won 3 games this weekend. They got to win 6 in a row. They could maybe lose one of the James Madison games because it's on the road. They cannot lose at home to Georgia Southern. 210 RPI this time of year, that's a killer. Southern Miss really, really needs to finish the season strong with 9 wins to close it out.
Yes. Alabama they had at number 17. Alabama swept Vanderbilt this weekend. So, and currently in the RPI, Alabama is 5. So this is why we talked about this weekend for Ole Miss at Arkansas is so important because everything else around them went everybody else's way. And,
go ahead.
That underscores how unfortunate that bottom of the 9th inning in Game 3 was for Ole Miss because it very well could have. We'll see tomorrow.
It could be the difference.
It could be the difference, especially if they don't win both of – the magic number is still 16. Yeah. If you go 4-2 over the next 2 weekends, you're going to host. But if you don't –
it's going to be tight.
This game, that 1 inning, very well could be the difference.
Bama's now 13-11 in the conference. They finished the season, as we know, with Ole Miss. They're at South Carolina this week, so they're probably going to get 3 wins there. That'll put them at 16 wins. They're probably going to host, and they have a chance now. Getting that sweep was huge for them. You know what's interesting is Vandy is a team that is currently, 71 in the RPI. Their final 6 games at Missouri, hosting South Carolina.
Oh.
They're 10-14 in the conference.
They could get to 16.
If they get to 16, they're going to get in because there's never been a 14-win team that's left out, right?
Yeah, they're getting in at 16 and 14.
At 16 and 14, they're going to get in, but their RPI might be like 57, 58.
Yeah.
Same with LSU. LSU right now is currently 55, and you were thinking, well, if they could finish strong, the problem for them is they finish at Georgia and then hosting Florida. So they're not going to go 6-0, I don't think, to finish things up.
And just one more for you. Oregon, they had at 18. Oregon also had a great week. They went 3-1. So Ole Miss did not get help this weekend.
They are helped, though, that Oregon's 27 in the RPI. Their strength of schedule is 99.
Yeah.
They also have 4 quad 3, quad 4 losses.
So Oregon's not jumping Ole Miss this week. It should.
Seems unlikely.
So I think tomorrow State will still be a host. Southern Miss will still be a host.
State was the 14 in that?
State was the 14.
They should pop up
13.
They should pop up to like 11 or 10, I think. Because they're 9th in the RPI. They had 2 quad 1 wins last week. And then, as somebody mentions here on the C Spire text line, this series with Auburn, I feel like the Starkville Super Regional, it's almost locked in. Like, I don't think they would fall past 16 at this point. But if you can win this series with Auburn, you're going to have a chance to host a Super Regional, I think.
Yeah.
If they get 3 wins out of their final 6, they will probably host a Super Regional. 4 wins of if State goes 4-2, they're definitely hosting a Super Regional, assuming they get out of the regional.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So that's we're coming down to the wire.
Yeah. There's only a few games left. Does Ole Miss have a midweek left? State has 1.
Let's see here.
State has Nichols tomorrow night.
Come on, computer. It's freezing. UT Martin next week. So no midweek this week.
They have
for
a
Ole Miss
final week midweek game
with UT Martin.
Oh God, what is UT Martin's RPI?
I don't know.
237. Mike, if you're within the sound of my voice, seed the clouds. You can't play that game, Mike. Why would you schedule that? Don't do that.
Call the people at Trustmark Park and figure out how to install turf with holes in it.
Immediately. Get that done. You just need to let Richard Cross go and just he just broke in the stadium with his Ford F-150 and tore up the turf. We can't play the game.
I mean,
you can't play that game. 237?
That is horrendous scheduling.
That's awful.
Especially when you are teetering on the edge of hosting. Mm-hmm. That Alabama series very well could be a host play-in series. It very well could be.
Right.
Like winner hosts, loser does not. That simple.
Yeah. I think this weekend in Starkville is you want to be on the left side of the bracket, you got to win this series with Auburn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Auburn would lock themselves. Auburn's in a really good spot anyway. They might stay on the right side of the bracket, which is the left side of the bracket, they keeps throwing me off to say that. But if State wants to be a top 8, they don't have to sweep. They have to beat Auburn this weekend, and then they have to go to A&M and not get swept. And if they can do that at 17 and 13, they're going to at least be on the bubble between, I think, like 8 and 11.
I think you're right. We will obviously see tomorrow.
Yes. We'll get what's what I'm looking for? Projections from Baseball America and from D1 Baseball. I know that Mark Etheridge said on Twitter, he said Ole Miss needs to go 4-2, which is different than what they were saying earlier this year when they were saying with Ole Miss's schedule, they could definitely go host at 15 and 15.
Forgive me for maybe this is ignorant or cynical, but
what changed?
You don't need to give a committee room full of suits an excuse to leave you out. And being 500 in conference play
would be the thing, yeah.
Is a thing that gives, and especially if Southern Miss and State are going to host.
That's the other thing, too. If Southern Miss and State are going to host, they'd probably just send Ole Miss to Hattiesburg and call it a day.
I mean, guys, you've seen how this process works, right?
Yeah.
We've seen how this works. Yeah. 15 and 15 gives them every reason they need to leave you out. Christian Ostrander will join us when we come back.
Sports Talk Mississippi. Sports. On your radio and in the game. Super Talk Mississippi.
Welcome back in, Sports Talk Mississippi. We go to the Farm Bureau guest line for the first time today. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. Mississippi Farm Bureau. Christian Ostrander joins us again, as he does every week during the regular season. And, Coach, we've already gotten a few texts about this. We got to ask, 44 strikeouts and 4 walks through the course of 3 games. Has that ever happened to you before, and are you more excited about the 44 Ks or more trying to wonder what the heck happened on those 4 walks?
Yeah, no, I mean, that was it was impressive. The guys really pitched well, all of them, and just pounded the zone and executed and got in favorable counts and was able to put guys away. So very proud of that. That's obviously the message we try to preach and stress here is that, strikeout to walk ratio, and good things happen when you do that.
What's the secret sauce, if you will, to maintaining a team's, I don't know if energy's the right word, but through a doubleheader, especially two really close games. Is there anything that you do differently? I mean, I asked Mike Bianco this last week. Do you guys have coffee in the dugout? What do you guys do to keep your team energized for 18 straight innings of baseball?
Well, I mean, thankfully with the players we have and, and our programs, tradition and what we're trying to, accomplish, these guys they know the magnitude of every game, especially, now this time of year. And it's up to them. Sure, you challenge them with some words and try to make sure they realize that, they control their mind and their focus and intensity and just encourage that. But ultimately, it's up to them to go play and perform and be ready for, what we like to say the most important game of the year is the one you're playing. So get after it.
A little extra drama there for you. I guess you had to have that on Saturday in Game 1. But not only did you dominate on the mound, you just dominated the series from top to bottom. When you look at these final 3 weeks, and you kind of know what you have to do if you want to make sure you've got that Hattiesburg Regional in your back pocket, did it feel good to just completely take care of business from basically the start of the series to the end?
It did. It felt right. Everything felt right. All aspects. When you look at the pitching side, the hitting side, and the defensive, and the runs were at a premium on Saturday. The park was playing really big because the wind was blowing in, and we're not really built for that. Honestly, we're not the fastest team, but sometimes your pitching's got to keep you in it, man, and they did, and we were able to generate enough offense and get the big hit to win Game 1 in a walk-off fashion, and then win Game 2 3-1. So just very proud of the way these guys played and the way they competed and their energy this weekend.
When you look at your veterans, and you've got some guys in this who've been playing Southern Mississippi baseball long enough, they might be doctors at this point. Have they been? Could they contribute at the level that you expect from your veterans? I have to think the answer is yes, but when you think about the guys who've been with you all this time, do they lead the way you want them to lead?
Absolutely. I mean, they're just, it's instilled in them. When they got here as freshmen, they saw what it looked like from the upperclassmen, the older guys, and it's just something that you just pass the torch down as you go. But no, it's a high character group of seniors that love this place, love this community, this university, this program, and they want to achieve, for it. They want to leave their mark and kind of leave their legacy from this team. So they're doing a great job with the leadership factor.
You seem pretty process driven. You lean on culture and things like that. As the season is coming down the stretch here, 2 regular season weeks left, do you change the way you practice or prepare to gear your team up for the postseason? Like we hear in football sometimes, the practices are lighter as the season goes on. They do less and less hitting to protect their team. What is that like in baseball, or do you alter anything as the season's coming to a close?
You might, just very little. Now that there's no midweeks, we normally are on the field on Mondays. Well, we gave them off today, and we'll have, a lighter day tomorrow, then a good practice Wednesday, then get on the plane and go get ready for the weekend series. So, yeah, I think so. I think, less is more this time of year. It's not like you just ho-hum, show up and go, but you gotta, be aware that we got nicks and bruises, and there's fatigue that sets in. You just try to give them as much opportunity to be fresh as you can.
Coach, we're talking about the end of the season here. Mississippi State plays a midweek game this week. Ole Miss has a midweek game next week. You don't have any more midweek games. Is that how you like to schedule when we get to these final 2 weeks? Would you prefer just to have the weekends to focus on, or is that just a one-off this season?
No, this is, kind of how you want to structure it, or how at least I want to structure it, and how we've done it here, over the years. And it's good to kind of catch your breath a little bit, with that. And don't get me wrong, the midweeks are so important, and baseball is a game of rhythm. But, after you're, at this point of it, the hay's kind of in the barn. So, kind of freshen up and get ready for the weekend series.
As you know, we here in the media, we have to do these things where we look at things like RPI and we make projections. You've got 2 series coming up with James Madison and Georgia Southern, both sub 150 RPI teams. It puts a little extra pressure on your team, because I don't know, if we're going to talk about projecting regionals, what you can afford to give up here. Is there extra pressure with you, or is it just still one game at a time?
Well, I mean, it's there, and I know it. We know it. That's just the nature of the beast. You can't control the conference opponents that you play. You get what they give you, and you can't control what that year looks like for them. So, yeah, I mean, it's obvious. We know that our margin for error is 0, to be honest with you. And is that more pressure? Well, I guess it could be, but we don't talk about it with the guys, and they're smart enough. They've been doing it long enough here and seeing what it looks like to know what's at stake and the importance of just going and playing good baseball every time you step on the field. And you control what you can control, man, and that's how we play, and just worry about one game at a time.
Speaking of the schedule makers, this is the second year in a row where the schedule makers have deprived us of a series between your team and Coastal Carolina, the two best teams in the Sun Belt these past 2 years. Does part of you look forward to the conference tournament and possibly getting a shot at them?
Absolutely, man. That's a great program, man, and and they're leading our league, and so absolutely, yeah, you would love the chance of playing. I wish we were playing them regular season, but again, we can't control that. So again, if that's how it falls, if the chips fall that way, and we get to meet them again in the tournament, that'll be very exciting and be a great contest.
We do have a question for you from the C Spire text line. One of our listeners wants to know: will we see Ben Higdon steal 2 bases back to back again this season?
Well, we saved that one in our pocket for the right time. So, so I don't know. We might have burnt that trick, but who knows, man? He did a good job, and he called for it, and so we'll see. It's we might get a few more bags as the season goes.
Coach, really appreciate your time as always. This time last week we were talking about Mississippi State maybe coming to Hattiesburg. Maybe Borkey's coming to Hattiesburg now. Maybe the Ole Miss Rebels.
Might see you there.
Coming your way. But we know one thing, as you told us last week. There will be an SEC team in the Hattiesburg Regional if it comes to it.
Oh, well, there's no doubt of that. So I hope that opportunity happens.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
Coach Christian Ostrander joins us on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. It's so interesting to look at their schedule. And as he just said, by design, no midweek games. To know, I remember State in what year was it? It was 2016 when they won the SEC. And I remember podcasting and thinking, okay, if they want to win the SEC, they've got to go 9-0 these last 3 weeks. And that's going to be tough. They went 9-0, and they ended up winning the SEC that year, thanks to some help from our good friends in Oxford when they were able to take a game from Texas A&M that year. And so I just feel like that's an interesting dynamic where, you think it's good enough to win the series. You spend the whole year just win the series, and now it turns into we really need to get all 3. And it's tough to sweep anybody. It's really tough to sweep on the road, which is what Southern Miss is going to have to do this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. But the opportunity's in front of them. There's absolutely no doubt about it. No, you don't have to stretch your mind or anything to get there. Yeah. But, yeah, there will be
I do hope
team
that in the Sun Belt tournament, those 2 teams can make it to the final. Because I assume they'll be on the opposite sides of the bracket, the 1 and the 2. And I need to see a Coastal Carolina Southern Miss game. I need to see that.
Yeah, Southern Miss 3 games back in the conference schedule. Coastal Carolina. So Coastal Carolina is 19-5. Southern Miss 16-8 in the league. Coastal Carolina's final 6 league games are Old Dominion at home and at Louisiana. So Southern Miss, you would think, has to win all 6.
That's some breaking news.
Hey, I know. I was going to save that for when we came back.
It just puts a smile on my face, though. I'll tell you that.
I mean, so we'll tease it right now. Of course, Coach joins us in the Farm Bureau guest line. Brian O'Connor in the next hour and Mike Bianco in the 5 o'clock hour. Especially after what happened in Austin this weekend. I saw a pitching chart that had all of the missed balls and strikes calls on it from the umpiring crew over the weekend in Austin for both teams. And it's staggering how bad it was. Staggering. That might...
Staggering is the word that you use.
Staggering.
That's
hey, there's a couple... You ever seen Super Troopers? Of course you've seen Super Troopers where... What about that little guy? This little guy? Don't worry about this little guy.
Yeah.
That was on some of this pitch chart is like, wait a minute, how on earth was this called a strike? It is so far out of the zone. It's unacceptable. That might change, ladies and gentlemen, and it might change soon. We are going to tell you about exactly what we mean when we come back. Sports Talk Mississippi in the Pearl River Resort Studio. We'll be back in just a minute with some breaking baseball news. Good news, I think. We'll be back.
Sports Talk Mississippi. Sports Talk Mississippi.
You know I love sports.
On Super Talk Mississippi.
Breaking news from our friend Kendall Rogers at D1 Baseball. This is such a welcome sight. I'm so happy to see this from Kendall. The NCAA Baseball Rules Committee has approved the SEC's proposal to use experimental ABS, automated ball strike, challenges in the upcoming conference tournament. If you guys have paid attention to Major League Baseball, it's when a pitch is out of the zone, but it gets called a strike, and the batter just taps his helmet. They review it within seconds, and if the call is wrong, they change it, and everybody moves on. It's very efficient. I'll
start doing that to you, by the way. Yeah, you start saying something I don't like.
It's very efficient, and it's an electric part of the game. Great addition to Major League Baseball. It's a fun little additive to the game.
It's been fun.
Coaches will have 3 ABS challenges per game in Hoover. A caveat there is, if you get it right, you keep it.
Right.
So if you have 3 challenges and you challenge and you get it right, you have 3 challenges.
It's not coaches. It's pitchers, hitters, and catchers.
Okay, so he said coaches at first, and then the only people that will be allowed to challenge are the pitcher, hitter, and the catcher. Within 2 to 3 seconds of the call, bonus challenges in extra innings. This has been a great addition to Major League Baseball. I'm so happy to see this. I hope the implementation is as good. And what I don't understand is, frankly, the baseball purist and then the umpires as well that push back on this. Don't you want the outcome of the game to be decided exclusively by the players? Mm-hmm. When they execute to perfection, a batter's at the plate, and he's got a 3-ball count, and there's a pitch that's way outside, he should get first base, right?
Yeah.
He did everything right, and it gets a bad call, keeps him in the box or strikes him out. That is not the players determining the outcome. So I don't understand the downside of this or the argument against this ABS coming to SEC baseball.
We got a text here from Lucas in Union on the C Spire text line who has the graph of yesterday's game from a Mississippi State Texas game. 214 called pitches, 21 misses from the umpire according to the graph here. That's 10% of all the calls were wrong. That is not acceptable. And I understand umpires have a hard job, and I get it. And no, I don't want to get out there and do it myself. But if you're going to put the mask on, and it's kind of funny having to have this discussion when we have the idiots here in Starkville who are out there beating up umpires at a 14-year-old's baseball game. Those guys should be, sent to another planet. But regardless of that, 10% is not an acceptable number. You can't miss 21 out of 214 pitches. This is much needed. I mean, I don't think it. I think people are asking about the Ace Reese thing yesterday, and it was a bad call. Now, if he walks there, maybe the game's a little different. I don't know, but it's not like State was playing great baseball before that. But yes, you're right. You're correct, Borkey. I want the correct call because I want the players to decide the game, not the officials.
10% is just wholly unacceptable. There's no other. If you are a dissenter on this, please help me understand your position. Because, look, everybody's got opinions, right? I've got plenty. I'm not always right. I'm not always spot on. Nobody is. And I generally think I can see the other side of what and how I feel about things. This is one of those times where I have not yet seen a true, good argument against this. So if you are a dissenter, please tell me.
Yeah.
And the answer of, well, the human element's what makes baseball great. But is it really what makes baseball great?
No, that's something that people tell you because they're afraid of change. All right, what makes baseball great is balls and strikes, runs, home runs, great pitching, great hitting. All right?
An umpire with a bad zone is not a great thing to watch.
There is nothing in this life that's made better by mistakes. Nothing. So, yeah, you can't – you say if you want to hear reasoning, I don't. I don't want to hear your reasoning because I'm just going to disagree with you. There's no way you can convince me this isn't a good thing for the sport of baseball. Yeah.
Mike says, what's the MLB average umpire success rate on calls? Much better than that. I mean, honestly, what ABS has exposed, with the exception of a couple, Major League umpires are awesome.
They're pretty good.
They're awesome.
The other side of this, and I saw somebody on a message board talking about this, you get a ball that's low. You challenge it. That means for the rest of the game, they know where the zone is.
Yeah.
They can't call that anymore. Like if you have an umpire who traditionally calls low strikes, if you challenge him and it's a ball, well, he's got to adjust.
Yep.
Otherwise, every pitch is going to be, and again, you get an extra challenge when you can't allow that. So the challenge sets the zone correctly. And, yeah, I'm excited to see this.
Doug says a pitcher that makes a ball look like a strike, he should be rewarded.
I feel like you should be rewarded for throwing strikes. Yeah.
So deception. Mm-hmm. So if a guy makes a touchdown look like a touchdown, but it's not, he should be rewarded for that?
I can't get behind that. So.
We're up against a heartbreak. We can keep talking about this, and then we'll get into winners and losers when we come back. Sports Talk Mississippi. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go. This is your new home for exclusive sports coverage here in the Magnolia State. Sports Talk Mississippi on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Welcome back. Borkey and Hadad with you, Sports Talk Mississippi.
Yes, it is Sports Talk Mississippi. And, guys, this weekend, I hope you guys were able to get out there and mow the grass. If you weren't, if it's still a little wet wherever you were, and this is the weekend coming up where you're going to have to get out there, make sure you're using some John Deere Green. And our friends at Ag Up have just the deal for you. Right now, their Drive Green sales event is going on through May 23rd, and you can get a compact tractor. Great deals on that. But here's the greatest deal. You go buy an Ag Up. You go get a look at their compact tractors. You get a quote. You don't have to buy, but you're going to be entered into a drawing for a brand new John Deere generator and pressure washer. Don't miss it, guys. All you got to do is go get a quote. Now, you'll want to buy once you get the deal. I promise you that. But make it easy on yourself and stop by your local Ag Up. And a week from tomorrow, Michael Borkey and I will be in Hattiesburg at Ag Up. So you come by, say hello, and you can get a quote on a compact tractor, and you can get entered to win a free generator and a pressure washer. We want to see you there. Tuesday, May 12th, Ag Up in Hattiesburg, 7000 U.S. Highway 49. Monday at 4 o'clock. Normally what's up is winners and losers, but we're going to stay on this discussion here.
For a little bit. Let's read a few more messages anyway on this. Yeah. Somebody says the reward to a pitcher. So if you guys are just joining us, the SEC baseball tournament is going to have the automated balls and strikes review system. So if if a batter or a pitcher or a catcher thinks that a call is missed, they very quickly tap the top of their head. They go to an ABS review. I would assume and hope they have the same technology as Major League Baseball to where...
You would think the SEC would have that.
Yeah, it just goes straight to the video. Boom, call gets made within a few seconds, and they move on very quickly. You would hope that's the case because, again, it's very efficient in Major League Baseball. Mm-hmm. It moves fast.
Yeah.
You have 3 challenges. If you win, you keep it. Mm-hmm. And it's not like the NFL... Well, no, the NFL changed that, right? Where if you have 2 challenges and if you win, you keep 2. It used to be where if you would always lose your first challenge, and if you won your second one,
you got another one.
You got another one?
Yeah.
This case, you have 3, and if you win the first one, you have 3.
You have 3.
So yeah, somebody says the reward to a pitcher with a lot of action is a swing and miss, not tricking the ump. Yeah,
that's correct. Yeah, like 5 or 6 people said that. Like the reward for a pitch that's a ball that the hitter thinks is a strike is an out, or at worst, a swinging strike. So I agree with that. There's no need to. You don't have to give away a pitch like that.
Yeah.
For that.
Somebody says a good baseball player will adjust as long as the ump is consistent. The only thing I hate about is losing a pitch an inch low or outside, etc. Just part of the game. If they would adjust the computer to allow that, sounds great. So, but I see that discussion a lot. Well, a close call shouldn't be overturned because it's close. Then what is the point of the skill of painting the black?
Right.
What's the point of being good at that if that's not going to count for you? But also, a good baseball player will adjust as long as the ump is consistent. How many at-bats does that take?
Yeah.
So you're talking, you got 3 innings to figure out where the ump likes it, and then you can start playing? Imagine a football game having the first quarter where you don't know if holding's going to be called or not.
Yeah.
Just whatever the referee feels like calling that day is what it's going to be. I don't really like offsides. I'm not a fan of offsides. I don't really like calling it, so I'm just going to decide whether or not to call it, and you guys got to figure it out for the first quarter, and then you'll be good. These are highly trained baseball players to know exactly what the strike zone is. They shouldn't be punished for being right just because the umpire feels like calling outside pitches that day. Well, you'll adjust, but shouldn't you have exact knowledge of the game when the game starts?
You would think. So, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how it works. I hope it works well.
Somebody says it should be implemented in high school. Well, that's a cost thing. There's no.
I will say this though, I'm always a little skeptical. ABS and MLB has been fantastic, but I'm always skeptical of rules changes because I remember when they were going to review pass interference and what a debacle that was that year. So I hope the SEC doesn't try to make they challenged and the umpire was right 97% of the time, which we all know is not going to be the case.
Why does the defense get 2 people that can challenge and offense only gets 1? Because who's the other one that's going to
Who's the other one on offense? The base runners are going to challenge? What do you mean? Let's process here, folks. There's only one guy at the plate.
Let's get into it, though. Winners and losers.
We got winners. We got losers.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate a loser.
What did you like from the weekend? What did you not like from the weekend? Send them in on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Brian Hadad, go for it.
I mean, doesn't it have to be Golden Tempo? One of the more exciting Kentucky derbies of all time. It came from
wild, yeah.
Last to first. I mean, how often does that happen? Not one of the big favorites. You have the story of the first female trainer. A lot of good storylines coming out of this, and I think it's a cool one. So, it's a good horse name. Golden Tempo sounds good to me. Sounds like a horse name. Sounds like somebody who should win races like the Kentucky Derby. We'll make Kentucky Derby winner Golden Tempo our first winner.
Winner and a loser. So do you have a second winner first before I switch us over to losers?
I mean, that was quick.
Well, because I have a winner first.
This one must be really chomping at the bit here. Go ahead.
It's the same thing, essentially.
Oh, no.
So Cam Young's a winner. It's a golf one, but Cam Young's a winner. He has been, you really could argue that he's been the best player in the world over the last few months. Wins again, this time at Doral, a signature event, dominated the field all week long, and his game is awesome. He is boring as can be, and I mean that complimentary. Like he's got a wife and kids, and he's off social media, and like the thing that they do when they go on the road for tournaments is they make sure they find a good church to where they can go to mass every Sunday. I mean, like just a very like normal dude, family man.
It reminds me of that Shane Gillis when they're in Jamaica.
Yeah,
hush now, child. I'm trying to hear the good word.
But he's very unassuming and like just very normal, good dude off the course. But his game is electric, so they don't really match each other. But it's good to see an American not named Scotty Scheffler. I like Scotty Scheffler a whole lot. But somebody besides him kind of emerging as a possible dominating force in the sport. And he looks like he can be that. So that was awesome. The loser, Doral in Miami. And before you even say anything, this is not in any way, shape, or form a political statement. Hey, Dad, the owner of Doral, it's Trump Doral.
I know who it is.
This is not about the owner.
The golden statue.
This is not about the owner of the venue at all. Doral has been in golf for a long, long, long time. The people of Miami don't support it. They had an F1 race there this weekend. The crowds were pathetic. Pathetic. And the golf course is kind of boring anyway. Like, it's tough, but it's kind of unimaginative. But there was no juice out there. There was more people at the Zurich and more energy at the Zurich than there was a signature event with Scotty Scheffler and Cam Young in the final group. I hope Brian Rowlett, the new commissioner, doesn't get caught up in big markets equals more people, because Miami doesn't support sports. They just don't. They don't support Miami Hurricanes football. They don't sell out Dolphins games. They don't go to Marlins games. It was empty. It was juiceless. And that's how it was when the WGC went to Doral. This is not a new thing. This is not a one-off, one-year thing. If that's what they're going to give you, stop going. Seriously. It was horrible. I mean, it was like playing a World Series game, hey, Dad, in front of 3,000 people. Awful. Just Miami doesn't support sports anymore. More people, I'm not kidding, this is not hyperbole. If they would have played the Cadillac Championship signature event with all the best players in the world here in Jackson this weekend, the crowd would have been double or triple the amount of people. There's nobody out there. It was horrible. Don't play it there anymore if that's what Miami's going to do and support. Awful.
All right. Two teams, the Boston Celtics, which I'm going to enjoy talking about, and the Orlando Magic. Now, Orlando's a little different. They were the 8th seed. They got up 3-1 on the Pistons. They didn't win, right? They lose 4 games to 3. But, I mean, they kind of did everything they could just to get it to 3-1, and they ran out of gas. But the Celtics losing to the Sixers, just a beautiful thing. Nobody should support that team. I believe they're all domestic terrorists. Glad to see them out. And, you know, the way they lost, they, again, were up 3-1 on this Sixers team that only got in because they won in the play-in game and didn't get Joel Embiid back until Game 4, and they still couldn't get the job done. I didn't watch a lot of that series, but I watched the last few minutes just to enjoy the Boston fans and their agony. The Lakers advanced despite some massive injuries, so I don't see what the big deal is. It doesn't seem like it's that hard. Now the Lakers are about to get bounced. I have no doubt in my mind about that. But the NBA playoffs, if you are an NBA fan, they've been there's been a lot of outstanding drama thus far. So good stuff. But the Celtics and the Magic, losers.
We'll get back to this after weekly conversation with Brian O'Connor. You'll hear that when we come back.
Good afternoon from the
Sports Talk Mississippi is brought to you by Covington County Hospital in Collins, where your health matters.
This is Sports Talk Mississippi, right here on SuperTalk.fm, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and always live on your local SuperTalk Mississippi radio station.
Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. Coach Brian O'Connor joins us as he has every week this season. And, Coach, I want to go back to last week in the midweek with the Governor's Cup game. You had some pretty pointed comments after that game, or just right after it. Now that you had a week to think about it, what are your thoughts on the Governor's Cup and playing Ole Miss in a non-conference game in a midweek situation?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, Brian, I was glad we played the game because I thought our guys played really well, and obviously it was a great crowd down there, and proud that we brought the Governor's Cup back to Starkville for President Keenum and Zach Selman. But it's interesting. I knew that the game was always played, obviously paying attention to college baseball across the country over the years, knew that this game was played. But, it's the only matchup in the country where two SEC teams play each other in the middle of the week. And that makes it unique and exciting. But obviously, a lot goes into it. So, it is what it is, but certainly not ideal, right, for both Ole Miss and Mississippi State, but understand it and how great it is for our fan base, Ole Miss's fan base, to play a game down in Jacksonville, and that was shown by the fans that came out to the game.
Let's look ahead. Let's look ahead in the week to the series with Texas. I want to talk about Saturday and Sunday specifically. On Saturday, another example of a guy on your team who's been on the bench for a few weeks, and Drew Wires, who comes off the bench. You give him an opportunity, and he has the big hit that wins you the ball game. Blake Beavis did this a few weeks prior. Valencius has done it a couple of times. It just seems like your guys really do have that mentality of staying ready and getting ready for that opportunity. As a coach, how satisfying is that for you?
Well, it's great because, Drew Wires that day was the right guy to start for us at shortstop. And obviously the big home run there. But I think it speaks to whether it's Beavis, Valencius, or Drew Wires or other guys that, it shows that they're unselfish and they stay ready to go. And that's why they came to Mississippi State. Again, we didn't promise any of them playing time or any of that, we construct the lineup every day that we felt would give us the best chance to win, and they stay ready. And, obviously rewarding, and shows that a guy like Drew Wires or Blake Beavis or whoever it might be is a consummate team player.
And then on Sunday, Charlie Foster was pretty sharp those first two innings, and you've got a 5-0 lead, and it looks like things are going your way, and then it just unraveled on him. As a coach, when you go out there to get him, and he's not trying to throw no strikes. He's trying his hardest out there. I feel like fans lose that sometimes. They're like, throw a strike, like he's not trying to throw a strike. What is the message, though, when you're like, it's completely unraveled on this poor young man right there in front of everybody?
Yeah, I mean, hey, listen, it's tough competition, Brian. You know that. It's the highest level of college baseball, right? And, the thing about it is one of them's the 3-2 count, right? I think two of them are 3-2 counts. And he just didn't make the pitch and ended out hitting Tenney with the 3-2 breaking ball, and it was time to go to the bullpen. But what I think a lot of people don't understand, Brian, is, you don't have guys in the bullpen actively throwing, planning on somebody all of a sudden starting to walk guys. Right. You don't start getting somebody up until after they've walked a couple. Well, it takes a certain amount of time to get a pitcher ready, right? And no coach is Nostradamus and can predict everything that's going to happen, right? And so I feel fortunate we were able to get Jack Gleason ready as quick as we did, and then they obviously got to him. And he's done such a great job in that role all year long. He's kind of been the guy that we brought in when it's time to lift somebody that just has kind of lost it. And so with regards to Foster, I don't know. I can't explain it sometimes. I mean, years ago, I had a pitcher in Omaha in the National Championship Series, a left-handed pitcher against Vanderbilt in the National Championship Series that just absolutely dominated him for 2 innings. And then all of a sudden lost it. Like, it was kind of a reversal of fortunes. Their starter walked 3 guys in the first inning, right? And their coach hung with them even after giving up 5, right? And, and he did a nice job of settling down. And, Foster knows he's got to be better than that. And, it's tough, but it happens sometimes.
I don't want to get you fined here, but we're going to talk about what happened later in the game there. I'll just ask this. As a coach, are there times when you leave the dugout to talk to the umpire and you don't think you're going to get thrown out, and are there times where you're going out there going, I'm about to get tossed?
Well, I don't really ever think about it that way. There's certainly times you go out and talk to the umpires about certain things that you might see or or whatever that you want them to take an eye out for or whatnot. I just felt like, that pitch was so egregious that, I obviously needed to defend our team and our player. Listen, umpires have a really tough job, right? And, as it turned out, that umpire did a really high-quality job on Sunday. No matter what anybody thinks when they watch a broadcast, they receive scores after games. And so sometimes it's hard to see whether a pitch is in or out or not. And, it's sometimes a situation that you need to defend your player, especially in that scenario, a pivotal time in the game.
I want to make you do the thing that I know coaches hate doing more than anything else. We're going to look ahead just a little bit. You've got your team in a spot where if they handle their business these next 2 weeks, there's going to be a Starkville regional. You're set up at a place where if you take care of Auburn and Texas A&M, you're going to play postseason baseball here at home. How does that make you view the conference tournament?
I don't know. Brian, I haven't even thought about the conference tournament. I think it's more about how do we play in our last 7 games and what kind of position do you put yourself in. Then after that, then you turn your attention and look at the conference tournament. Now, I've always believed in any time you go to a conference tournament, you do whatever you have to do to try to win it because you want your team playing well and playing with positive momentum. So it all depends on what's the first day you play at the conference tournament. What are you going to do pitching wise, depending on proper rest and all that. And, we'll get to that when we get there, but certainly we have 7 meaningful games and everything to play right out in front of us.
So you've got a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series this week. The next 2 weeks, obviously, the final week for everybody is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Does that mean you're going to make some alterations to the rotation in terms of do you want to keep Tico on Friday or do you want to move him up now? How do you plan to attack that?
Yeah, I mean, we'll look at how today goes and tomorrow goes. Haven't made the decision exactly what we're going to do from that standpoint. So the options are thin on when you look at that, especially with a midweek game, a game tomorrow against Nichols. So we'll look at and see how those guys doing, Valinkas and Duke Stone over the next 2 days.
Well, it's time for our weekly Ryan McPherson update, but today we can add Ben Davis and Maddox Webb to the discussion. How are those 3 guys doing?
Maddox Webb's fine. He just got hit in the leg with the ball, and I really don't think that impacted that next batter that he pitched to the end out walking. Maddox Webb has pitched a lot for us recently, and so he just needs to get his breath, but he's fine health-wise. No update on Ben Davis. We'll have to see how the coming days go, with regards to his back. And McPherson's progressing well. I don't know, he's got a bullpen scheduled this week, so we'll kind of see how that goes, and it's kind of day to day. I'm hoping that he can help us out very, very soon.
So people like me, who make predictions based off of no information whatsoever, have talked about this final midweek game possibly being a spot where you could see McPherson. Is that a possibility at all?
No, no, he's not. He's not ready for that. Okay. Great question, though, Brian. But no, you will not see him tomorrow.
So
there was one more question attached to that. If you want to hear that final question, you can on the Thunder and Lightning podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Good stuff there from Brian O'Connor on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. We'll get back to your winners and losers. Keep sending them in on the C Spire text line, 601-879-4395. Your winners and losers when we come back.
You can be a part of Sports Talk Mississippi. 888-808-8637 on Super Talk Mississippi.
All right, your winners and losers, keep sending them in on the C Spire text line 601-879-4395. Gotten a few of this one. Loser, the youth baseball coach that was filmed in Starkville this weekend. And this, I promise we're going to talk winners and losers, but I do think this is a conversation worth having. Reading from SuperTalk News, actually, a sheriff's deputy and an umpire have been arrested following a fight at a youth baseball tournament in Starkville. Incident took place yesterday with a parent capturing the entire thing on video. Starkville Police Department confirmed to the dispatch that Oktibbeha County Deputy Daryl Hawley, a coach for the local 14 and under Sports Performance Center select team, because that's a thing we need for middle school students, and Jeff Adkins, an umpire for the tournament, were arrested on misdemeanor charges. Tensions flared after the game and elevated when Hawley seemingly got physical with Adkins while the two were apparently arguing. A retaliatory shove looked to be delivered by Atkins before punches were exchanged by both. A player was also involved, reported to be the son, actually, of the coach, as he struck Adkins with several punches in the fight. Some statements have been released and stuff like that. I mean, that's pathetic. Mm-hmm. The video is pathetic. It's pathetic that a adult that is tasked to lead children is getting in a physical altercation with an umpire in a middle school aged baseball game. What's even worse is this is not new. This is not unique. This is common. There's actually another youth baseball fight video from over the weekend that is also going viral. There's two of them from the weekend. And I also read a story about there's been some commentary about how important travel sports are. And a coach said, the truth is, travel parents are right by getting their kids in travel programs at 7 and 8 years old, because once they get to middle school, they're behind. And he's right for the wrong reasons. The fact that we have abandoned rec leagues and the fact that we are forcing year-round sports on 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds, or else they'll be left behind in middle school, is a sad indictment on us as people and what we're allowing sports to become. Parents are paying $30 a game to go watch their own children play youth baseball. If you don't live out of hotels every weekend, you're getting left, your 10-year-old is getting left behind, and then you've got parents and coaches cussing at, screaming at, and punching umpires.
It's rough.
It's pathetic.
It's pretty rough. I mean, I just want to be inside the brain of a guy who's like, hey, I'm going to go beat up this umpire at my 13-year-old kid's baseball game. And this guy, by the way, was a deputy sheriff here in Starkville. Not good. Like, that's how he reacts in that situation. What's he going to do? How's he going to react in a real situation? Mm-hmm. That's just awful. And travel ball has had such a bad rep over the past few years. Somebody on a message board today was like, explain it to me. Like, it seems like it's something that costs a ton of money. It takes up every weekend of your year. And 99% of the kids playing it will never play baseball past high school.
Because they won't make the middle school team if they don't.
Right. Well, I mean, okay.
And that's pathetic. That is pathetic that is the response to that.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
And there are good coaches that do travel ball, that care about the kids in development and stuff like that. There are not enough of them. Mm. And I hope that there's a recalibration of our values, and rec sports starts getting invested in again. Rec leagues need to matter, man. Well, we're abandoning them because there's more money to be made on the select whatever national travel BS team that these kids are getting forced to play on.
Yeah.
I mean, I told the story on this show. I definitely talked about it on the podcast. I've got a friend lives in another state. This kid's 8 years old. Good baseball player, but he's 8 years old. 8. And his travel coach told the team, "You will not play for my team if you play other sports." 8 years old.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So as you can guess, this discussion just enveloped the C Spire text line. So if you have another winner or loser, feel free to send it to us at 601-879-4395.
So I'm down here on the before this, if you want to keep going winners and losers.
Yeah.
Somebody says, let's talk about how homer calling balls and strikes can affect the game. Home team pitchers get wide corners and just have to be close to be called a strike. Visiting pitchers, narrow corners. In effect, visiting pitchers end up pitching batting practice. That does happen. Now, what the ABS situation, what this will eliminate also is an umpire with an attitude. How many times have you heard, "Oh, you better not show up the umpire because he's going to call you differently next time"? I think that's unacceptable too.
Yeah.
So ABS gets rid of that concept as well. Winner, Arkansas baseball social media. Hey, Dad, I don't know if you think we can.
We can't, but it was hilarious. I absolutely laughed. Also, another social media winner. The Minnesota Timberwolves today tweeted out something that said, "We never use AI for graphics." That tweet has 17,000 likes in like 3 hours. People are tired of AI.
Yes, they are.
It's crazy how it's AI is. We may be delving into Richard's territory here. Put our foot in the pool, but AI is like one of these issues right now where the divide between the normal people and the not normal people, and by the not normal people I mean the people who live in Washington and work in tech and stuff like that. No offense if you work in tech, you know who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about you, but like they make you think that we have to have AI. If we don't have AI, we're all going to die. We'll all have a bad time. And then everybody else is like, "What? I use AI to make stupid images."
Chat GPT is really good at creating custom bedtime stories for your kids if you want to go down
Apparently
that
very
road.
good at creating custom images of Brian Hadad as a country music. I thought
you looked great in that picture.
I was like, I showed my wife that. I was like,
"Hey, honey."
Like, if I could look like this, I'd feel pretty good. I'd get up there and be like, "My truck, I love a cold beer." I'll sing some country music.
Mike says, winners, me for winning tickets to the Zach Bryan concert from SuperTalk. Losers, Mississippi State for charging outrageous prices for parking. Don't get me wrong, it was awesome, but dear Lord, the price of parking
Mike, you should have just reached out. I'll let you park at my house for $20, and I'll give you a ride up there and back. I had to go do it anyway. I had to go pick up my daughter. So, that way, trying to get my daughter, I picked her up. I had her and my niece. I had to take my niece to her friend's house where she was staying. A 2-mile drive. That's about a 45-minute excursion.
Oh, no.
Trying to get around campus. It was unbelievable.
Somebody says, loser, State's baseball coach arguing with the ump like that. You can make a point without doing that. Not a fan of that. How many kids are watching a grown man shout in another man's face like that?
I disagree. He had to go out there and defend his player. He had to. I don't have a problem.
That level is a little different.
Coaches, the college level, coaches sometimes have to go out there. I asked him about it in the interview there. He knew when he was walking out of the dugout he's going to get thrown out. He knew it. He's like, I got to go out there and make a point because this guy has blown it here. I don't have a problem with that. Yes, at the 8th grade level, the under 14 level, let's have a little decorum. But at college, they're paying him $3 million a year. Go out there and argue. It'll be all right.
Yeah. Somebody back on when I was talking about Doral and the lack of fans says pros may need a break. I'm guessing the players don't mind after the Masters. See, but that's the thing. I mean, they have to play a signature at the Heritage a week later, but the Zurich, most of the guys took the week off. It was the crowds that were the issue, not the players. The players played great.
Yeah.
It was that nobody was out there.
You hit on it. Like you said, you didn't want to talk about it, but I won't be surprised. I'm not totally surprised if politics does play a small role in that. there are people who don't like the president, and they didn't want to go to his golf course. I mean, that's very possible.
There is, yeah.
Simple as that.
Let's see. More loser of the year, the travel baseball coach, getting a lot of that.
Micah Tishomingo says, if I had known that, hey, Dad, I would have brought you something from Harvey's. We could have made it work. $20 is cheap parking? Yeah. I think it was $90 for a parking pass.
Whoa. I mean, Zach Bryan, Google said that his appearance fee to do a concert before you pay for the stage and logistics is between $2.5 to $6 million.
Yeah, so $90, yeah. $20 for parking, and I'm going to give you chauffeur service. That's a great deal.
Winner, my buddy and his wife were having their first kid. Borkey, you decide if the next part's a winner or a loser. Named the kid Zepp after his favorite band. You can guess the band.
JoJo Zepp and the Falcons?
I mean, they could have gone.
A pretty niche name. Okay,
they could have gone Robert.
Yeah, or Jimmy,
or Jimmy, or John Paul. I mean,
or Zoso. Or
you didn't have to go Zepp.
This is our son's stairway.
Yeah, Moby Dick. You know, I mean, just. We'll be back in just a bit.
Oh God.
Sports Talk Mississippi on Super Talk Mississippi.
Sports Talk Mississippi back with you here on a Monday afternoon. Brian Hadad and Michael Borkey. Did you come close to naming James after anything Led Zeppelin, or is he named after Jimmy Page?
No, he's named after his grandfather.
Is he named after Jimmy Page?
He was born in '62, so I hope
it's
not.
Tight. It's tight.
It's tight.
Yeah, that may have been like Yardbirds Jimmy Page at that point.
No, he was named after his grandfather. Although there's an OAR song actually that I love a lot called James. That all right, this is gonna sound cheesy, but I did it, and I don't care. When he was a baby, and we were trying to get him to sleep, I would rock him and sing
James.
OAR's James to him.
The first time I sang to my oldest daughter when we brought her home, right? So I'm sitting in my chair, I'm holding her. And my mom is sitting there, and she's like, you should sing her a song. And I had an idea, and I just started singing. I was like, say your prayers, little one, don't forget my son.
Yes.
And she didn't know what it was. And then I got to the chorus, sleep with one eye open. And my mom's like, stop it, what are you singing? So her first lullaby was Enter Sandman.
Goodness gracious. Dwayne asking if I would let my son play travel ball if he wanted to, not if I wanted him to, if he wanted to, and I got him in an organization that clearly cared about development first and teaching the game, whatever game, the right way first. Like I saw over the weekend, there was a guy, I think his son's team was down 12-0 in one of these showcase tournaments. They have a couple players out, and they've got a pitcher on the mound who's pitching for the first time. And it's like the fifth inning in this game, and it's 12-0. And the other team is just every time they have a player on base, they're just sending them around and just doing nothing but running the score up. And I forget what age. I think it was U10 or U11, but that to me, call me soft, whatever. So one of you out there is calling me soft for that. At that point, when you're winning that badly, if you have a runner on third and a kid that's never pitched before on the mound, don't just send the kid home when he turns his back to him. Teach the game the right way. Play the right way. And part of playing the right way is respecting your opponent also. But just running the score up because it makes you feel good and you can high-five your assistant coach who never amounted to anything, that's not teaching the game the right way. That's why we take knees in football. That's why when you play the FCS game, you put your four-stringers and walk-ons in to get carries. Because at some point, okay, the game's, What are you teaching here? Respect is a thing that's been lost, and we see that obviously because of the way that youth baseball, soccer, whatever, umpires, referees get treated. There's a reason they can't find anybody to do it, because if my son's in high school and he wants to ref youth baseball or soccer, I'm telling you, you got to find another way to make money, son. Because there's no way I'm going to sit back and let some Karen or whatever the male version of Karen is cuss you out because you got a call wrong in a U12 baseball game.
I've been told the male version of Karen is either Justin or Chad. I'll let you pick. No offense to any Justins.
What about
Chads,
Darren?
Karens.
Karen and Darren.
Darren could work, I guess. No offense to any Darrens out there, right?
We do have a Darren in Jackson.
We do. Not you, Darren. The other Darrens.
James says I gave my son a great name. Yeah, well, blame his grandfather for that one. I tried to call him Deuce, but Mom said, nope, you're not calling him
after
Deuce.
McAllister?
No, because he's the second.
Oh. Well.
So Deuce said, nope, that was vetoed. Hard.
Yeah.
I can't imagine why.
If my second child had been a son, I wanted to name him Leonidas, but that was also vetoed. So.
Gosh.
Imagine what
That's
a great name. It's a great name. It's historical. Guy's one of the greatest warriors this planet's ever known.
What about like Mithrandir? Let's really get off into the weeds.
I was going to name him Aragorn and change my name to Arathorn so he could be Aragorn, son of Arathorn. But it just didn't work. She's a girl anyway, so we just went with Emily.
The male version of Karen is Michael. No, you jerk. Boo. Okay, you got me. That's pretty good. But boo. Somebody says it's Kyle.
And somebody else says Brian is the male version of Karen. That's definitely not true. Brian is a very respectable name.
Somebody says, my son is 7 on his first travel team this year. We are focused on teaching the game, which is evident by our record of 0-9. The unwillingness of people to volunteer has led to the demise of most rec leagues. And that's the saddest part. Because rec leagues, in a lot of places, frankly, not where I live, at least in my soccer experience, with my son. I think the rec experience has been very good. But in a lot of places, it's not a viable option. And that sucks more than the travel situation, I think. That you can't have a kid that plays soccer in the fall, basketball in the winter, baseball in the spring, goes to 10 camps over the summer, and doesn't miss out on anything. That's a shame, too. And all this money that's going into travel sports, wouldn't it be great if we invested that back into the rec leagues? I don't know. We'll talk college football. Just a news dump for you on this Wednesday.
Usually a Friday thing. What's going on here?
We'll get to those after the news. Sports Talk Mississippi. Don't go anywhere.
Don't get better.
Back to Sports Talk Mississippi.
It doesn't get any better than this.
On Super Talk Mississippi.
Welcome back, Sports Talk Mississippi. Michael Borkey, Brian Hadad with you. So glad that you guys are with us. Let's just get right into it. It's the college football fix.
The college football fix is driven by your Mississippi Ford dealers. Built Ford Tough. Best-selling truck in America sure is, and that's the truck you need to be driving. Right now, if you're looking for a great deal on a great truck, I can make it real easy for you to do that. Let's go visit your Mississippi Ford dealers today. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
All right, let's start with this interesting quote from the commissioner of the AAC, or scratch that, they don't want to be called that anymore, the American Conference. Southern Miss fans, listen up, because this might impact you. His name is Tim Pernetti, and he was on a podcast called the Big Mountain Podcast. Never heard of it, but he was on it. And
like the Big Rock Candy Mountain?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess. But there's been a lot of talk this offseason about playoff expansion and format and things of that nature. The commissioner of a Group of 5 conference wants his own championship. Here are the quotes. There's demand for more postseason football. You have 5 conference champions that are not going to the playoff. How do we create a new enterprise that complements the college football playoff? Maybe we play on Tuesday and Wednesday, leading into Thursday. There's a gap there from Sunday NFL, Monday Night Football, Group of 6 playoff, CFP, back to the NFL. You could create the greatest gauntlet for a football fan ever seen in life by doing something like that. First of all, pause. Thank you, Commissioner, for being somebody in a leadership position that cares about the fans. Listen to that. He's speaking my language there. He continued. We are having discussions about it, knocking around the idea. I think there's something to it because it's a new enterprise. Best on best of the Group of 6. There's a lot of folks out there from the brand and media side that are really interested in knowing more about this. I think we have a responsibility to run that idea out and see what it looks like and make a decision whether or not it makes sense to pursue it. What do you think?
I hate it. No, what do you think I think? It's great. Make it happen. Let's go. You got my attention.
I am very surprised, frankly, that a conference commissioner
likes the fans, likes the sport.
Well, yeah, no kidding.
Is that what you're surprised by?
But a G6, because there's always been the holdup of the second we have our own playoff, we tell everybody we're not, like, we don't matter. We're lesser.
Right.
That's been the thing.
Right.
But with all due respect,
and we're saying it with all due respect.
You already are.
Oh, I didn't know you were going to go there. I wouldn't have made the joke.
But look at the money. Just financially, you already are.
Yeah.
You don't make as much money. And Southern Miss fans, here's a bone for you, because one conference makes more money, and they didn't earn it. Yeah, Purdue was a founding member of the Big Ten. Purdue hasn't won anything in football, and yet they got $77 million or whatever from the Big Ten. What did they do to earn that? They didn't do anything to earn that, but yet they got it. So it's not fair, but the system is what the system is. It's not against the Sun Belt or the American. It's just reality. There is a discrepancy between the ability to get players for some conferences as opposed to others. So what's the point of pretending anymore? You saw what happened on the field with James Madison and Tulane. We all saw it.
Yeah. And look, there's going to be some years where you have an outlier team that can go toe-to-toe. Some of those Boise teams in years past, they could go toe-to-toe with just about anybody. They beat Oklahoma, obviously. Cincinnati, a few years ago, then they beat Notre Dame. They beat a few. You're going to have your outlier teams. That's fine. I just think, and I mean, remember, not that Southern Miss fans are particularly keen to hear his opinions on things, but Will Hall talked about this with us once. He thought this was a great idea, and give him a chance to compete for a real national title. You would absolutely be recognized. People was like, that's the best group of 6 team, group of whatever team in the country.
We already do it in the FCS. FCS.
So I don't know. I like the idea. It's one of those things, though, that you're going to have to, a lot of pride is going to have to be swallowed. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you can get to that point.
But the commissioner of the AAC, that is a step in that direction if he's talking about it publicly.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, next up, local news. 2 Ole Miss football players were arrested for DUI over the weekend. Separately. 2 different instances, same charges.
No, 2 players,
separately.
Same oh, God, that's tough. Well, that shows me that program's out of control. Pete Golding is obviously not got a handle on things. I would imagine that's going to be the case now that the strict disciplinarian that is Lane Kiffin, a man who lived by his own code.
Yes, he did. Absolutely, yeah.
it's gone. I would just go ahead and shut the program down. If that's just me spitballing here, though.
Reese Wise, a reserve quarterback, and Demarius Yates are the 2.
Reese, not so wise, you mean?
I mean, no kidding. And Demarius Yates, a running back. Both of whom were arrested for DUI. Let's see. Wise, he's only 18. He'll be like the 5th-string quarterback for Ole Miss this year. Mm-hmm. Operating a motor vehicle under the influence. And Yates, first offense, DUI. Also speeding and reckless driving. Dumb. College kids are dumb. They'll, have to have the 4 a.m. workouts with the new strength coach and stuff like that, have some punishment, carry some equipment, clean the locker rooms, all that good stuff. They're lucky it's not worse. Anybody that drives drunk is lucky that it's not worse than what it was. Dumb, but not to diminish the action, 2 players that were not going to have an impact on Ole Miss's season this season.
Yeah. Yates was a guy that highly recruited. Was in one of the top. Mm-hmm. He and J.J. Hill were the top 2 running backs, and Crosby, I guess, were in the top 3. Was committed to State, flipped to Ole Miss. So does that mean we could put him on the list? Can we put him on the list yet, or we got to see how his career pans out?
What list?
The list of players that have flipped from State to Ole Miss.
Oh no, you can't.
Full of not good football players,
except for Malik Heath.
Well, I wouldn't count that as a flip. That's the transfer portal makes. I'm talking about in the recruiting process. A high school kid committed to Ole Miss
So
State.
I don't know the recruiting history in the same way to be able to counter that at all. To be honest with you,
it's rough. It's a rough look.
C.J. Johnson,
C.J. Johnson is the best of the bunch. He had the best career. Good stretching it.
He had a good career. He was
for
a good
guy who was the number 1 player in the state to never make an All-SEC team.
He was still a good player, though.
He was a decent football player, at best. He's decent. I'll give him decent. He never played a down in the NFL.
Doesn't mean he wasn't a good college player.
Well, I agree with that, but when you're a highly rated, highly recruited high school football player he did have a really good Egg Bowl. If he could have played State every year, he might have been the first pick in the draft. But Pat Patterson, Armani Linton, Jay Johnson, Kalo Moore, God rest his soul, Takeon Reed. It's a long list of guys who made that flip, and it just didn't work. I don't know. It's a weird curse. I don't know what it is.
Somebody says, with all the extra money they have, no problem. It's what they think anyway. I've seen a lot of that. And forgive me for being dismissive. Did college football players not get arrested before NIL? Were they squeaky clean and then NIL comes and then they started committing alcohol-related offenses? That's using NIL as a scapegoat. Unfortunately, college football players have been getting arrested for dumb things.
You can go a step further.
For college kids.
College kids have been doing dumb things since the beginning of time. So
and money does not change that reality at all. No. All right, next up. Taylon Mayo, 4-star defensive back, committed to Ole Miss. He's out of Texas. He had an awesome offer sheet. 8 recruits in Ole Miss's class. It's May, there's a long way to go before signing day, both for good and bad reasons.
Yeah.
But 5 of the 8 are blue chip prospects. So the blue chip index being very good to Ole Miss right now. He's a 6'4" corner, big kid.
Let me tell you something about 6'4" corners. They tend to be pretty good.
They tend to work out.
I'll speak from experience. The only other one I've ever heard of is Kelly Jones. So.
Speaking of recruiting, Ty Keys committed to Miami over the weekend from Poplarville. I don't know. I don't know much to add. I think Ole Miss is going to get that running back from Baylor because he played not Baylor Waco, Baylor Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Because he plays with their quarterback who's committed.
Right. State's already got Christian Alexander, the kid from, and then they're all for trying to get another guy, I think from Winona. They want to make this a 2-back class. This is a good year for running backs. Say Ty Keys, of course, last year. Not to be confused with the other Ty Keys who played quarterback at Taylorsville. This kid is from Poplarville. Last year, almost, I think he either broke the state single-game rushing record or had one called back. He had a game where he averaged like 28 yards a carry, had 7 touchdowns or something. It was just mind-boggling statistics. So whenever I see a kid at any level, out-of-state commitment early, just keep an eye on it.
Mike Bianco joins us when we come back. That's your college football fix, driven by Ford in your local Mississippi.
From the
If it's sports in Mississippi, you'll hear about it here. Sports Talk Mississippi.
You like this show, huh?
Yeah! Super Talk Mississippi.
Christian Ostrander joined us in the 3 o'clock hour. Brian O'Connor in the 4 o'clock hour. Now head baseball coach at Ole Miss, Mike Bianco, joins us right now on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team. Coach, I want to get into what happened over the weekend and some other things, but first we got the news a little bit earlier today that in the SEC tournament in Hoover, you guys are going to get the ABS experience, the challenges, all of that stuff. Were you surprised by that news? And what is your reaction to getting the opportunity to challenge balls and strikes in Hoover?
Yeah, be careful what you wish for, right? We've talked about it, in our meetings for the last few years. And, one of the great things about being part of the Southeastern Conference is that we always seem to be on the cutting edge and, a step or two behind, Major League Baseball. And so from instant replay to PitchCom and other technologies, we're fortunate, and it's something that they talked about. They thought that it was a possibility. Certainly, the coaches would be for it, and so it's a good start. I don't know where it goes from there, but usually like instant replay and some of the other things, it starts in the SEC tournament. So we're glad to have it.
So I don't know if surprise is the right word, but there's mixed opinions about replay. And we've asked, Hadad, correct me if I'm wrong, Christian Ostrander earlier that was kind of against the implementation of this. And it sounds like you're welcoming our new robot overlords.
Yeah, well, one of the things is I think it can take a lot of the second guessing out. I realize, and fans don't like to hear this, and I get it, but, the umpires are better than they ever have. And, ever have been. And, they're really excellent and getting better and better because there's really an objective measure and a way for them to work to get better. And so, it's not just, subjective. I lost, so I think the umpire's, no good, and you won, so you thought the umpire was pretty good. Now there's, the box is the box. And so, they either called it, correctly or they didn't. And so, the umpires have gotten better and better. And again, we'll see how it goes. The thing about this is it's hard for me to imagine this will ever, at least in my lifetime, be part of college baseball because I just cannot see how 300 programs are going to be able to do this. But it may be something that trickles down like the instant replay that we go from this to using it in conference games only, and then eventually the teams that are can afford to have it, you'll make an agreement before the game, to do it or not. But it'll have to be. I think it'll be a little more of a struggle than instant replay.
I'm curious now. You made reference to the meetings you guys have and stuff like that. Is there a rule or a change or something that you advocate for that you want to see happen that hasn't happened yet?
Wow, that's wasn't ready for that question. No, not really. We discuss a lot in the meetings. We're there for 2 days in Birmingham the week after Labor Day. Discuss a lot of topics, and so what's from a compliance issue and all the things that catch your show and all the other shows from transfer portal to NIL and things that are in the pipeline and things that the SEC, again, we're very fortunate that keeps us kind of on the cutting edge of things that are coming down that pipeline, but nothing specific.
Of course, back to this weekend, a devastating loss in Game 3. You have your guy on the mound, bottom of the ninth, and sometimes in sports things just don't work out in your favor. What is the team's mentality in responding to kind of a crushing loss that happened on Sunday?
Well, that happened less than 24 hours ago, or about 24 hours ago, and we're in final exams now. And I said it after the game. I don't know if it was on the air to the reporters that were there that maybe the finals come at a good time. We take these 2 days off, Monday and Tuesday, to let them concentrate on their studies. Sometimes I think we all forget that's the real reason that they're here, and is to get an education. but maybe to step away from the field sometimes is good. That was a tough one. And as you said, I thought both teams played well. Both teams played hard. We thought we had that one, but this game is tough and it'll tear your heart out. And it's just an unfortunate thing. If we had to do it all over again, you'd want the same situation with the same guy on the mound and everything. And more times than not, it would work out in our favor. Unfortunately, this time it didn't.
Back to game one, you guys do get run ruled, bounce back beautifully in game two. Is there any consideration about the possibility of maybe adjusting your rotation in terms of when guys appear? Or are you talking about maybe moving Elliott back to a game two or a game three role, or is that just a totally ridiculous question?
I don't think it's totally ridiculous, but there's a lot of different factors involved, and I'll leave it at that. We discuss everything. How we use every pitcher in the rotation. We talk about the rotation. We talk about the bullpen pieces, and I think it's pretty easy when you step back at 40,000 feet view and say, hey, this guy's pitching better. Why don't we pitch that guy at that game? Those pieces sometimes don't move as easily, but I'll tell you, not just in this office, but I think in that locker room, everybody's got the utmost confidence in Hunter Elliott, and don't have a doubt that he'll right the ship and be terrific this Friday.
Judd Utermark this weekend tied the all-time home runs record at Ole Miss. I'm sure you're not surprised by that, but what does that statement mean to you as his coach?
Yeah, just proud of him, and you hear it a lot, but none more. That statement doesn't ring any truer than the guy's a class act, and just so proud of not just him and how he's played over the last several years, but how he's represented the program, this university. I've said this before, and I mean it so sincerely. I think as a parent, when you watch that kid, you want your kid to grow up to be like him. And I don't just mean the 19 home runs. That's pretty cool, but he's just a great teammate, a great leader, just a great individual, and loved by his teammates. And so again, it couldn't happen to a better guy, and a guy that's certainly worked very, very hard. And a lot of things that people forget is it wasn't always easy for Judd. Judd came in here and didn't play a lot his freshman year because of an injury, then got re-injured and struggled through a little bit of I say struggle, but through his sophomore year, and then just really took off the last 2 years.
A couple of your guys were hurt, obviously missed the Governor's Cup. They played all weekend, but how are Foley and Federico feeling after a weekend back in the lineup?
Yeah, so Foley got hit, by a pitch in the kneecap and swelled up on him, and he was okay to hit, but really what we weren't prepared for was how much it would affect him catching. And he's catches on one knee like most of the catchers these days, and he got hit on the knee that he actually places on the ground. So one, it was difficult to just set up, and two, it was difficult for him to move and block pitches, which is what he does well. But he's 100% now. They made a special padding that he could wear around the knee that give him a little more protection than just the normal shin guard. I want to say he wore it in game one, but didn't wear it in game 2 or 3. So he's good to go. Hayden, on the other hand, is still nursing a strained quad that is giving him issues, but he's a tough kid and really has gutted it out and played well this weekend, but it's still one of those where he's nursing it. He'll play this weekend, but he's not 100% yet.
You mentioned finals week for your players. That means no midweek game. Do you like not having a midweek game, or would you prefer it that way to keep them sharp with just 2 weeks left in conference play?
I mean, there's part of you as a coach that the great thing about this game is, when you have some adversity or get punched in the gut, the quicker you can get back out on the field, much like Friday for us to get back out on the field Saturday, I think is a blessing sometimes. But this time of year, as the injuries that you mentioned. And there's, everybody's feeling a little banged up and a little bruised up. And I think, not being on your feet for a couple days, this time of year, they've played a lot of games. We've played 49 games. So I think the 4 days off is probably really welcomed at this time.
Coach, we really appreciate your time. Your team back home this weekend against Texas A&M. We'll talk to you again next Monday. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That's Mike Bianco on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. I don't know why, Hadad, I'm surprised. He's just a veteran coach, but people think he's old. He's not old. He's not old at all. He's just been coaching a long time.
He and O'Connor both are not as old as people think they are.
But all for ABS, all about replay. He's like, yeah, absolutely. I love it. Yeah, bring it on. Interesting, in a good way, that Mike Bianco was all about the new replay, automated balls and strikes at the SEC tournament.
Or as you put it, our robot overlords.
Our robot overlords. Yeah, Sports Talk Mississippi. We'll be back.
What we're going to do right here is go back.
And now back to the sports. This is Sports Talk Mississippi.
So let's get rolling
on Super Talk Mississippi.
Belk Ford and Oxford Toyota on Highway 6 there in Oxford is the place to go if you're looking to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. Anybody can sell you a car. I mean, you can go on Facebook Marketplace, and if you don't get, kidnapped and left in the woods forever, you might be able to buy a car. But who makes the buying experience? I thought that was funny, Borkey, but once again, you have no sold me. It's just, I thought I had a joke.
You got to be funnier.
That's a great joke.
It is. That was a good one.
Anyway, if you're looking for a newer pre-owned vehicle and you want a buying experience that's going to bring you back for years to come, go see our friends at Belk Ford and Oxford Toyota in Oxford on Highway 6. Tell them that Borkey and Hadad sent
you. I know you saw this already, but are you ready to feel old?
First off, I think we've already had this discussion about you asking me that question. Secondly, yeah, go ahead. Is this the Maurice Jones-Drew thing?
The son of Maurice Jones-Drew has committed to UCLA.
Come on, man. How is this a thing?
Deuce Jones-Drew, which I assume means that he is Maurice Jones-Drew Jr. Because
I would assume, yeah. It might just be Deuce nowadays.
It could just be Deuce, yeah.
They give the kids all these wacky names.
But Maurice Jones-Drew, 8,000 rushing yards in the NFL, spent his time mostly in Jacksonville. Really good player. All 5'7" of them.
Yeah.
First team All-Pro in 2011, three-time Pro Bowler, led the NFL in rushing in 2011. His son committed to play college football.
Yeah. At his dad's alma mater.
At UCLA.
Yeah, it's just getting out of... Let me ask you something. Are more athletes having athlete children now more than ever? Like, it was a big deal that Peyton Manning and Eli were the son of an NFL quarterback. Now it's like every other day I'm seeing, hey, so-and-so's kid is now... I mean, you got the Boozer twins at Duke, and LeBron James' son is playing with him in the NBA. And
but that barely counts. LeBron forced that to happen.
Well, it doesn't matter. The kid was highly rated. It just seems like every day more and more sons of athletes are becoming a thing. Whereas, there just wasn't as many of these when I was a kid. Like, I don't know who Joe Montana's dad is. I don't know
Joe Montana.
No, I don't know who Walter Payton's dad was. Like, it didn't exist. I don't know what the deal is.
I don't like this one because I remember vividly Maurice Jones-Drew.
Yeah,
I shouldn't be. So I am. But what I mean is how I feel inside. I shouldn't be old enough to watch Maurice Jones-Drew's son play college football.
Yes,
I'm not old enough for that yet.
But
here I am.
You've got Eric Dampier's kid, right? but Dan Pierre was last in college in 1996. All right, and his son is still like 4 years away from college, right? That's a respectable gap. That's enough time between dad and son that I'm not just feeling like a jerk that I'm so old. Maurice Jones-Drew, it feels like he was in the pros like 5 years ago. I can't live like this.
No, I can't live like this either. But yet here we are, living like that.
I don't want to live like that.
Oh, hey, just wait until like Nick Fitzgerald's kid commits to Mississippi State. Then you're really gonna just be like, you know what? I'm out.
Yeah, I can't. I'm out.
I'm done being a football fan. I'm done. This is
by the way, not married. It doesn't have
I just pulled out a name, a recent name. You know.
Yeah. When Nick Fitzgerald Jr., otherwise known as Deuce Fitzgerald, shows up in Starkville running over tacklers like his dad. So, Dak I think he only has girls, right?
I do not know.
I believe he has at least one girl, maybe two. So, that lineage is not...
when she commits to play basketball.
Yeah, she might.
That'll hurt.
I remember when Fred Ross and Victoria Vivians were dating, and I was just like, their kids are going to save this university. Let's go. Oh, well.
Oh, man. 601-879-4395, the C-Spire text line. Apparently Barry Bonds had a son that was good at baseball. That's from Brian. I didn't know that.
Bobby Bonds. Bobby Bonds' son is Barry Bonds.
I read that. I read that incorrectly. I read Barry instead of...
Bobby is Barry's dad. Bobby Bonds played a long time. And Ken Griffey, too. Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. But again, it was like a novelty back then that a father would have a son that was a big-time athlete. And now it's like every other week. I'm having these moments where, want to feel old? This guy you saw play live, who just retired from the NFL 2 years ago, has got a son who's a 4-star athlete.
Todd says, imagine how I feel watching Arch play. I remember watching Archie. And that also, again, underscore, the SEC screwed up badly. Mm-hmm. And this is low on the totem pole of screw-ups that the league has had lately. But the fact that Arch Manning will never take a snap in Vaught Hemingway Stadium is
really weird.
Just, you messed it up, SEC.
They did. They absolutely did.
That would have been a free weekend of everybody. And
the storylines would have written themselves.
Yes. And I know the league already does well, but
not to mention that if it happens this season, you got the two best quarterbacks going head to head. You'd think you'd want that matchup. I can go ahead and promise you, from a Mississippi State perspective, State would have been more than happy to not play Texas for the third straight year.
I have a feeling.
Been like, you could have let that game happen in Oxford, and nobody would have said anything in Starkville. I promise.
Yeah, that really is a shame that game's going to happen in Austin as opposed to Oxford. I don't understand where the league went wrong there. Mm-hmm. Especially when you watch the Big Ten and their distribution, $1.5 billion get distributed amongst the conference. But hey, not enough money. Congress, save us, please. We're just distributing $1.5 billion a year to our athletic departments. Yeah. Not enough money, though.
Somebody on the text line mentions Peyton Manning's son is coming up. So it's not enough that we had Archie's son.
Yeah,
it's not enough that we have Archie's grandson. Now we've got Peyton's son. I wonder if I'll live long enough to see Arch's son. Because you know he's going to be good.
That would be quite an accomplishment in life, though.
A fourth-generation quarterback would be something. Yeah, that would really be something.
And then just like for you, with I'm not being just like to see Arch's kid play.
Arch is what? Probably like 21 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So 20 years from now, when he's 41, let's say he has a son, he would have to have a son at like 25, 26.
Yeah, call it 25 for round numbers.
So in 20 years, I would be 70. I could make that.
You can make it. Absolutely.
I can make that.
Especially now that you're...
I had a funny thought about myself today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So, I've lost this weight, right? People who knew me, people who've known me for the last 5, 6, or however long, right? They see me and they're like, man, you look great. You've lost a ton of weight. People who are meeting me for the first time are like, he's pretty fat. Because I still am. But, if you've known me for a long time, you're like, hey, man, you look great, man. How much weight have you lost? But if I'm meeting you for the first time, you're like, guy's fat as hell. So I don't know why that occurred to me today, but it did. I don't know what.
Stitch that into your memory. Use it as a motivator.
I guess, yeah.
Because complacency for anybody,
yeah.
I mean, it gets you quick. When you're on your weight loss game and you hit some target weights and you're like, I can eat this.
I never had a target weight, though. That was my thing. I just want to lose weight. So I've actually really stalled out now. I'm like a pork butt that's sitting at 155.
That does it for an hour and it doesn't move?
Somebody wrap me in foil. I'm just where I am now. I've just decided at this point, it's like I'm just going to keep doing the things I do. And
calisthenics, man. And you don't have to do too many.
I don't have time.
Yes,
I don't have time.
5 push-ups and 5 sit-ups, and then it turns into 6, and then it turns into 7 and 8, and squats too.
When am I supposed to do that?
After you walk, the second you're done with your walk, go home and do 5 push-ups and
when I got done with my
planks
walk
for as long as you can.
I had to go take a shower because I had to be somewhere within like 30 minutes. I didn't
then
have
walk earlier.
I got to sleep, Borkey.
I mean, you're talking about a 5-minute calisthenics routine.
I don't know.
Push-ups, planks, and not like elbow planks, like just hand on the floor, like hold up, push-up position, and squats.
Yeah.
And then just add that into, and that'll like restart. Like you'll end your plateau when you do that.
Well, we'll see.
Do it.
Well,
I might text you tomorrow and be like, do push-ups right now.
I'm not doing push-ups.
Why not?
I can't do one push-up.
Well, then start on your knees. And I'm not being sarcastic no. You got to start somewhere. That's how it works. Start doing push-ups from that position.
You need to clean up the verbiage there.
But yeah, start there. And then planks, again, not elbow planks, but just like push-up position. And if it's 5 seconds, it's 5 seconds. So what? Yeah. Do that for 3 days, and then the fourth day you'll get to do 6, and then 7. And we looked for the 6-7 nuggies at Kroger, and they were not there. So lucky me.
That thing's running out of steam.
It is.
We finally got through it. Our long national nightmare is nearly over. I can't wait to see what the next thing is. It'll be like, it'll be 2 letters. It'll be, JK. Not JK is already a thing. LM. Oh, yeah. LM.
Yeah. Another good one. Counter push-ups. If you can't do them, start from the counter.
How about I do some curls? Like 12-ounce curls.
Yeah, you need a little bit more weight than that. Get a tall boy. Get a 16-ounce or a 20.
Get a 2x4?
Yeah.
There you go.
Sports Talk Mississippi. We'll be back in just a bit.
From the Venable Glass Traffic.
Communication system is a go. This is Sports Talk Mississippi, right here on Super Talk Mississippi.
Exactly.
So we started the show talking about Ole Miss blowing an opportunity in Fayetteville this weekend and the implications of that. We did not talk much yet about what happened in Austin, though. A lot of displeased fans with umpiring. What was your take on what happened over there?
At the end of the day, you're up 5-0. In a make or break, in a series deciding game. And as I said to O'Connor, it's not like Charlie Foster's out there trying to throw balls, right? He's trying to throw strikes, but man, when it unraveled on him, it did so pretty quickly. And Foster, at this point, to me anyway, has just kind of proven that you can't. Once there's some adversity, he struggles. He's great. First 2 innings, he was great. He was outstanding for Mississippi State. I was more encouraged by his performance in the first 2 innings than it was the 5-0 lead. I was like, if he's going to pitch like this and State can get into the 4th or 5th, maybe 6th inning with him, they're going to have a chance. And it just completely got away from them. It's 2 things can be true, right? It's disappointing to lose the games that State lost, right? The game on Friday, they just could not do anything. 19 strikeouts against Dylan Volantis and the Texas crew. They pitched the ball really, really well. And Sunday, you have the big lead early in the game. Bryce Chance hits a grand slam, and you squander his only home run of the season. That's a tough one. But the other side of that coin is State played 4 games away from home against top 15 RPI teams and went 2-2 last week. You can't ask for much more. They've put themselves in a position where if they just take care of their business these last 2 weekends, if they can win this series this weekend, which is going to be very tough, this is a good Auburn team. You got to go to Texas A&M, who seems to be cooling off a little bit, but it's still tough to win on the road. If you just don't get swept at A&M, and if you win this series, you're probably going to be a top 8 seed, but at the very least, the Starkville Regional will be a thing.
How are the vibes right now? Fan base and the internet was mad, but the internet's always mad. So
it's kind of interesting. I think the people's expectations of this team were so high, including mine. I came out and said I thought this team could win a national title. They're 36-12. They're 14-10 in the SEC. They're on pace to win 17, possibly 18 games in the conference. They're likely going to be hosting a regional. They have a great chance to host a super regional. And yet, I think people expect them to win every time out. And it's just baseball. I mean, UCLA being 42-4 right this second and not having lost a conference game is a massive outlier.
Mm-hmm. They also play in a conference that's not good.
Yeah, it's not, and they don't play Oregon this year, so they're missing out on the team that is probably the best chance to beat them. So for State, everything's still in front of them. The postseason will determine this team's legacy, but I think the vibes are okay. But it's when you lose a game like you lost yesterday, where you give up 8 runs without getting an out.
Yeah,
it's tough to sit here with a smile on your face, and feel like, oh yeah, things are fine. I think if we had told MSU fans, look, next week you're going to win 1 game at Texas and you're going to win the Governor's Cup, so you've beaten Ole Miss 4 straight. Are you good with that?
Yes.
I think State fans by and large would have said yes. But then the things happen and you watch the games, you're like, they could have won all 4. And it's difficult sometimes.
Yeah. There's 2 seasons within a season, right? If they host success. Yes, regular season, just like what we talked about with Ole Miss last year. They hosted a regional. Mm-hmm. Success, check that box. Mm-hmm. And then there's the second season, and it's the postseason. And what's so fascinating about it is the second season can completely eliminate all the good or all the bad that happened in the first season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If State is a top 8 seed and they get bounced in their own regional, year 1 is a complete failure.
Yes. But at the same time, if they're the 15 seed and then they get paired with Georgia Tech and they go out to Atlanta and win, then even though you didn't host the Super Regional, you're in Omaha. Yeah, great success. So, yeah. You got me thinking of Ole Miss. This is my in-state rival. Pain in my, I get the national title, they get the national title. We get Brian O'Connor, they cannot afford. Great success. So, yes. So for State, for Ole Miss, for Southern Mississippi, State and Ole Miss have 7 games remaining. Southern Miss has 6. Everybody in the state has the opportunity, has the chance, if they just handle their business going forward, to make some history. We could have 3 regionals in this state. I think we're almost certainly going to have 2. I think the Hattiesburg Regional is the most likely one, just because Southern Miss, their chances of handling their business are the greatest. State's probably in the second best position, but they've got tough games. Ole Miss is going to have to scrap a little bit, but they have an opportunity to get the Oxford Regional as well. So 3 regionals in this state, it could happen, but you've got to win games to do that. All right, tomorrow we'll be back. We'll look at those D1 and Baseball America regional projections, plus a lot more. For Michael Borkey and for Rhino, who just slid into the studio exit, if you're watching on SuperTalk TV, I'm Brian Hadad. Thanks for listening to Sports Talk Mississippi. Back with you tomorrow.
SuperTalk Mississippi Media Production.